madness. This is Sparta!
"This is Sparta" is perhaps one of the most iconic dialogues to ever be shouted in Hollywood's history. King Leonidas and his bold 300 soldiers have cemented themselves as legends in the annals of history. And today, we are going to uncover 10 facts about this amazing movie. From real military strategy to the number of helmets made, these facts are sure to blow your mind. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video for the bonus fact as well. Number 10. Strategy. 300 isn't just a story about a bunch of men meeting their glorious end after fighting a bunch of their opponents. It is an actual story of how just 300 soldiers, through incredible planning and strategy, managed to ridicule an entire empire and bring it to its knees. But what's surprising is that the strategy of King Leonidas and his soldiers is used to train actual soldiers. The iconic Battle of Thermopylae is often shown to military strategists during their training to provide examples of how crucial training and equipment are, along with how these factors' effectiveness is multiplied tenfold by the optimal use of terrain. Number 9. Shirtless. 300 is famous for a number of reasons, from the iconic filmography to the movie dialogues. Everything is great, but no one can argue that one of the most attention-capturing things about the entire movie was how all the soldiers were shirtless to the very end. Of course, if they were going to be bare-chested, they had to have appeal. And to have appeal, Snyder called in Mark Twight, world record holder in mountain climbing, to train them. The routine he put all the actors through was so rigorous that each and every single one of them ended up having rock-hard abs by the end of 8 weeks. Worth it if you ask me. Number 8. 17 helmets. Of course, if there is one thing that is iconic about the Spartan uniform, it would have to be the iconic helmets that they use. The classic hoplite helmet has been the inspiration for many other designs. But do you know that Leonidas alone uses 17 different helmets in the movie? You heard that right! The crew had made 17 helmets for Leonidas alone. But why, you ask? Well, each helmet had a level of degradation applied to it, which was used to show the slow but costly advance the Spartans had started. Of course, it is in the last scene where they lay dead when the final helmet was used. Truly dedicated to their craft. Number 7. Insult in disguise. The story of Ephialtes. The Hunchback is one that many fans felt extremely conflicted with in the movie, as it is his rejection from Leonidas that turns him against the Spartans. But if Ephialtes never betrayed Leonidas by telling their plans to Xerxes, Leonidas would have had a fighting chance. The relationship between Leonidas and Ephialtes culminates in one moment where Leonidas looks dead at Ephialtes and tells him, "May you live forever."
May you live forever.
This is actually an insult in disguise, as a Spartan's greatest glory is to die in battle. And by wishing him a long life, Leonidas is saying that he is not a Spartan, denying him of his greatest desire. Number 6. The Warrior King. You might think every king that came before Leonidas was exactly like him, brave, fearless, and unyielding. But you'd be wrong. This is because Leonidas is the only king to have undergone the harsh training that every other Spartan youth undertakes. Leonidas was never intended for the throne, as he was the third in line, succeeded by his 2 brothers, Cleomenes and Dorios. But when Cleomenes inherited the throne, Dorios left in jealousy. Only a few years later, Cleomenes would abdicate the throne and flee when the Persians attacked at Marathon, leaving Leonidas, the heir who was sent to the agoge, to inherit the throne. By this point, Leonidas had forged a will of iron under the training of the taskmasters at the agoge.
Spartans! Lay down your weapons!
Are you enjoying the video thus far? Well, if you stuck around this long, make sure to stay till the end to hear the amazing bonus secret. Number 5. Top dollar. You might think a film like 300 took up a very large budget for the elaborate sets, backgrounds, and props, but you'd be wrong. It only accrued a total cost of $65 million. Executives only hoped 300 would break even or earn somewhere around $75 million. But the movie ended up doing so well that 300 ended up being one of Warner Brothers' most successful movies, making over $200 million in theaters alone. Number 4. The iconic look. 300 is known for many things: the iconic dialogues, the epic battles, and the show-stopping performances. But all of these things are highlighted by the film's iconic color grading and aspect ratio, which adds to the immersion that the movie provides. The iconic aesthetic for 300 was created in post-production by a method called crush, where the black content of the film that was shot was crushed, and then the color saturation was upped to change the contrast ratio of the film. So if you shoot a video and want this iconic visual effect, make sure to follow these steps. Number 3. The mother of Spartans. King Leonidas was known for being a cunning strategist, a tactful warrior, and a diplomatic king who knew to avoid conflict as much as needed. But Leonidas would have arguably never been any of these things without his pillar of support, Queen Gorgo. Gorgo is known for being just as unyielding, if not even more so, than her husband. And in the movie, there is an iconic moment where the Persian messenger questions the queen's authority to speak amongst men, and Queen Gorgo retorts by saying, "Because only Spartan women give birth to real men."
What makes this woman think she can speak among men?
Because only Spartan women give birth to real men.
The historian Plutarch recounts that this moment has indeed happened in real life, but not with a Persian messenger, but rather one of the king's own subjects.
You're reduced to ash at my whim. Consider the fate of your women.
Clearly, you don't know our women.
Number 2. Snyder Jr.'s cameo. The scenes of Leonidas' childhood are important in establishing the person he is. Being the youngest of 3 years, he was sent off to the agoge to undergo the normal and notoriously difficult training that every other Spartan youth undertakes. Leonidas knows no comfort in life from the earliest parts of his life. We can see that even as young children, Leonidas and his compatriots are taught to be tough and strong. Zack Snyder decided that the best person to play the role of Leonidas as a boy would be none other than his son, who ends up crushing the role by showing the anger and rage every Spartan youth feels. Number 1. Blood, sweat, and tears. 300 is an amazing movie and is known for its raw and unapologetic visuals. The movie has no problem in disturbing the viewer with blood and violence, as the entire point of the film was to show the destruction that a dedicated group of 300 Spartan soldiers, along with their king, could unleash if threatened. Warner Brothers initially pushed Snyder to make the film a little less gory for a PG-13 audience, but Snyder's push for a real and authentic movie won over the corporate decision, and it ended up being the best decision they ever made. Bonus fact: the original choice for Leonidas. It's impossible for us to now imagine anyone else playing the titular character of Leonidas other than Gerard Butler. But when you hear who the forerunner for the role was, you may be a little surprised. Well, the forerunner for the title of King Leonidas is none other than Hollywood heartthrob Brad Pitt. Snyder wanted Brad Pitt to stand in for King Leonidas because he was convinced by his performance in Troy, where he had played the role of the legendary Greek warrior, Achilles. Just imagine, we would have seen a very blonde-haired, blue-eyed Leonidas instead of the rough and tough one we see today. If you like this video, we think you will enjoy this one. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. Make sure to leave a comment as well telling us which fact was your favorite.